Live Q&A here. See how many people we can help navigate the bureaucracy, make sure they're getting all the benefits they're eligible for, from Social Security, retirement, survivor benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, and all the rest of it. Another crazy AI generated, well, you tell me. I'm going to show a little 30-second clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the first 15 seconds, you're like, okay, wait a second, this is actually real. And then it gets kind of funny. And there are dozens of these AI generated channels out there, social media, and it's giving out a lot of misinformation. And I've got another video that a viewer sent in, has a question about surviving spouse benefits. I'll get into that, but she also mentions that she heard something on social media about them changing divorce spouse benefits from 10-year eligibility to 20 years, saying that you had to be married to the person for 20 years. No, that's not correct. It's more social media. We're going to see 2026 is going to be the year of, what's the polite term, BS, in terms of all things Social Security. And the one I'm going to show you here in a second is it's funny. It's pretty harmless, but all the other ones out there, unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and people get this information from these AI generated images. I saw Dave Ramsey is AI generated, a previous commissioner of Social Security. Politicians, Warren Buffett has been AI generated, and people have been watching these videos, and then they call Social Security and they clog up the lines for people that actually need help from Social Security. They're getting wrong information, so they're eligible for benefits, but they watch these stupid videos and they don't realize they're eligible. So if you see any out there, I got this one from Cedric. So Cedric scours the internet, and anytime he sees anything dumb like this, he sends it to me. So I appreciate it, Cedric. So let's watch what Cedric sent us here, and you tell me. Well, you'll know it's AI generated in a few seconds here.
I'm going to show you a pension statement that will make you understand exactly why Congress has no urgency to fix Social Security, while millions of American seniors struggle to survive on benefits that haven't kept up with the cost of living.
Okay, so Marjorie Taylor Greene, this is pretty good. You know, it's AI generative images have come a long way. You notice they put the little 60 minutes mark, like this is a 60 minutes interview. Yeah, I think 60 Minutes is going to have an issue with that. Not sure why. More of these people need to get out there and close these, these AI, images down. Yeah, this is getting way too much. If you want to do an AI image of a cat playing a piano, more power to you. But don't give out misinformation that people depend on, for, their retirement and disability. And yeah, this is, anyway, so here's the funny part coming up.
This is the retirement benefit calculation for a member of Congress who serves 20 years and retires at age 62. Under the federal employees' retirement system, they receive an annual pension of $59,160 plus Social Security benefits plus their thrift savings plan account.
Let's hear that one more time.
Employees' retirement system, they receive an annual pension of $59,160 plus.
I'm not exactly sure what the AI is tripped up on there, though. And what's even worse is, okay, so this is AI. This is funny. There's close to 100,000 people that have already seen this video. And there's a bunch of people that are subscribed to this particular channel that are going to get, and they're commenting on this, and they think it's, so we need to stop that. So what she's saying, in this particular stupid video, she's saying that, hey, one of the reasons politicians are not solving the issue of Social Security, that the trust fund is being depleted, and regular viewers know what slide I'm going to show here. But if you're new to my channel, and you have any questions, your family have any questions, make sure you're getting everything from Social Security. Make sure you type it in the live chat. Or if you're watching this on a recording later, make sure you subscribe. And that way, if you or your family do have a question, you know where to find us and avoid all the BS AI slop out there. So in 84 more checks, we're going to get a 23% cut because the Social Security Trust Fund is running out. We're still going to get about $1 trillion, over $1 trillion coming into Social Security every year. But the problem is more goes out. Got the baby boomers, 1946 to 1964, over 70 million people were born, and they are going to want their retirement checks. But the problem is in 85 more checks, those will be cut by 23%. That's not me saying that. Well, I just said it, but that is me repeating what the Social Security trustees have said. And they've been saying this for 40 years. Hey, it's going to run out. It's going to run out. We need to do something. We need to do something. And all the politicians haven't. Some don't want to do anything, and others tried to do anything, but they failed. So we need to do something. And this video says the reason politicians aren't doing anything is because they don't care. They've already got their pensions, and which is true. They've got their, their FERS, Federal Employee Retirement System. So they get that pension. They have the three legs. So they get that federal pension. They have Social Security. Yes, so politicians pay into Social Security. They didn't before. There was an old system, civil service retirement system, that was changed in the 1980s. So if you have a politician that's been serving since before 1980s, they might be on the old system and they might not pay into Social Security. But anybody that started after the 1980s pays into Social Security. So that whole myth is, yeah. And they also have to get the Affordable Care Act. So that's another interesting thing. And they have what's called the TSP, the Thrift Savings Plan, that they contribute into. So that they have they have their three legs of the stool. But that's not the reason. Yeah, no, that's not the reason why they're not saving Social Security and making sure you don't get cuts in the future. Obviously, the reason is the solution, the number one solution is to smash the cap. Right now, anybody for 2026, if you're making over $184,500, you are not paying Social Security FICA tax anymore after that amount. So them and their buddies on Wall Street, all their contributors, Citizens United and all that, millions and millions and millions of dollars. They don't pay FICA tax like the rest of us on those millions and millions and millions of dollars. They pay it on the first $184,500. So Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and Bezos, they finished paying their Social Security tax 1 second after January 1st, midnight, New Year's. A couple of seconds, they probably made $184,500. They paid their, if they got it in wages, which they usually don't. So they probably didn't pay anything into Social Security tax. But you're going to pay it. You and I are going to pay it the entire year, 365 days of the year. And that's why politicians haven't done anything. Not necessarily because, they're good in retirement. No, they don't care about their federal, retirement system, a few $1,000s a month, or their, Social Security, a few $1,000s a month. Yeah, they don't care about that. They care about getting those campaign contributions, because the old saying is the number one job when you're king or queen, the number one job when you're king or queen is staying king or queen, right? Okay, so yeah, so let's please watch out for these fake, hopefully social media. They do have to, if you watch videos like that, it's supposed to notify you in the first few seconds that this is altered content. A lot of people ignore that, and a lot of people that do these fake AI videos don't click that little button that says it's fake AI content. So there's a lot of people that believe this stuff, and there's going to be a lot of rumors about, stimulus checks and extra checks and all this other BS. That's going to be stressing people out. So if you got any questions on that, if you're awesome like Cedric, if you see anything crazy, let us know. Bring it in here. Okay, let's get into some questions here. Someone asks Claudia, serious question. Yeah. Do you know if it's law that I have to take Medicaid? Okay. The way you typed it there, Medicare, Medicaid, it's not spelled like that, but let's answer both of those. Because there are millions of people that do get Medicare and Medicaid. So Medicare is the federal program, Part A, Part B. Medicaid is a means-tested program you get from the state. It's a state federal program. But Medicare, as we used to say in the Marine Corps, you don't have to do anything in life. But if you don't, the repercussions are, if you don't get Medicare, you don't have to get Medicare if you don't want to. However, if you don't, when you're supposed to, you will get a penalty for the rest of your life. 10% for every 12 months you did not sign up for Medicare, the Part B part. The Part A is zero premium, so can't put a penalty on that because it's zero premium. But Part B, if you don't sign up for it when you're supposed to, then you're going to get a 10%. 10% of what? 10% of the monthly premium. So this year it's $202.90. So if you're 10 years late, you're going to have to pay twice that. You have to pay what, $405 or so for the rest of your life, every single month for the rest of your life. Okay. Medicaid, no, don't have to sign up for that. That's a means tested system. So low income, low resources. So if you know anybody out there that is having difficulty month to month paying that $202 for their Medicare Part B, tell them to reach out to state Medicaid, apply for Medicaid, and if they're approved, the state will pay for that $202.90. Someone was saying in the comments here that this person is TRICARE. Oh, okay, it's Claudia herself. Says, I have TRICARE West. I don't want anything else. You have to. Yeah, TRICARE. You're a vet, or you were married to a vet, and you know the deal. Old Marine Corps sergeant here, so I know the deal as well. This is one federal agency trying to save money by pushing costs over onto another federal agency. It's all coming out of tax dollars, but the Department of Defense, Veteran Department of Defense, saying, hey, this person we're going to give this person, health care. They retired from the military. We're going to give them health care for the rest of their lives, and we'll pay for it. Oh, Medicare also provides health care as well. Maybe if we make them sign up for Part A and Part B, Medicare will pay for part of it, and we can save money on our side. And so that's why they mandate you. So if you're on TRICARE, yeah, you have to get Part A, Part B. Don't get anything else though. There's a lot of people probably calling you 50 times a day saying, hey, you need to sign up for this Medicare plan, Medicare Advantage, usually it's a Medicare Advantage plan they want you to sign up for, but you don't need it. No, you definitely don't need a Medicare Advantage plan. You 100% do not need a Medicare supplement plan or a Medigap plan, same thing. You definitely don't need that one because you've already got a super awesome Medicare plan. It's called TRICARE. So. I'm not low income. Yeah, no. So you don't need Medicaid. Yeah, you're good. Keep on keeping on. Let's see. Get some other questions here. Also got the video question. We've got some other questions in other places. Douglas has tried to sign up for Part B, attempted 2 times. They already have Plan A. So this is so if they already had Plan A and they're trying to sign up for Part B, then that's an SEP. It's a special enrollment period. So it's basically you signed up for Medicare Part A when you turned 65 and you refused Part B because you had creditable coverage. That means you had health insurance from current work. Yours or your spouse's, that employer had 20 more employees. So you said, I don't want to waste $185, $200 or so. I don't want Part B. So good, you did the smart thing. Don't waste money, for unnecessarily. But now you stop working, you lost health insurance from that work. You legally have 8 months to sign up for Part B, and you won't be penalized. You'll need a couple of forms, the 40B and the 564. One of those, the 564, you take down to your employer, and I'm sure you already did this, Douglas, but I'm telling everybody else. You take it down to your employer, and your employer says, yeah, this person has had, health insurance from current work. We got 20 more. They don't even include the 20 more employees on the form. But anyway, yes, this person has had health insurance from work since they turned 65. Don't penalize them. Easy. Processed hundreds of thousands of those. But what Douglas is running into is the fact that Social Security doesn't have any employees. Even before Doge and Elon Musk, Social Security was at a 50-year low in staffing. Now they've lost another 7,000 or 8,000 people. So this is going to happen, unfortunately. And you've been trying 2 times. So this is where the nightmare is Douglas says he's been trying a couple of times. It's the first of the month. So you probably started trying to get Part B started last month. And you probably wanted to start the next month. That is this month. But it's not going to because you can't get Social Security to get it done. So you just might be without Part B for a month or two. And think this is going to happen a lot, unfortunately. Um, and hopefully, if you're all good, you got your prescriptions, hopefully you don't have any surgeries or you don't get any accident or something like that or get sick that you have to go because you're not going to have Part B and so you're going to not be covered. Hopefully nothing happens in that missing month or 2 months there. But unfortunately, I think stuff is going to happen. And the travesty of all this is that you paid for help. All those decades you paid into Social Security, all your FICA taxes, Social Security tax, Medicare taxes, all that was for Medicare. That was for Social Security retirement, survivor benefits, disability benefits. But a part of it, less than 1%, was also that when you called the office, you got help. When you needed Part B to start, they were able to start when you wanted it. But politicians, don't blame Social Security. They only do with what resources politicians give them. The owners of the business, have decided, oh yeah, sure, we've got 50 people outside waiting on coffee, but we're going to only have one person making coffee. That's their decision. Sure, we've got thousands, hundreds of millions of people wanting to file for Social Security benefits, but yeah, we're not going to have anybody in there. We're going to have AI do it. That's their solution this year. And shall I play the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing again about, the politicians have 402,000. So Social Security this year, they've already announced that they're going to have AI adjudicate people's claims. And I think they're in a year or two, when they find out that AI was missing a lot of stuff and people weren't getting the benefits they're eligible for, it's going to cost a crazy amount of money to go back and recalculate people's benefits. Has happened before. It's called the special disability workload. There was a mistake in calculations that happened. Someone found it, and it took about a decade and an unbelievable amount of money to go back there and fix everybody's record. Those employees, if it's Social Security employees that retired, remember the SDWs? Yeah, we're going to have SDWs on steroids. It's not going to be pretty. All right, let's see. I've got some other questions here. So, someone mentioned on that one, I kind of went about there, but I wanted to give information for everybody else. I would contact the owner of the business. That is the two senators in your state, federal representative, and the one House representative in your particular area, and say, hey, why isn't the local Social Security? Well, I know why the local Social Security office isn't, able to take care of what they need to take care of. It's because you're not supporting them. So what are you doing? What have you done for us lately to fix the customer service at the local office? So you contact your politician and tell them, you need to fix it, but until you do, make it a congressional and get it done. And hopefully they can maybe backdate it so that if something happened this month, you had to go to the doctor or something like that, maybe they will be able to backdate it to the first, and that is covered. That's going to happen a lot more this year. Another person here, my husband is 80 now. I'm 74. He retired when he was 62. I started drawing Social Security at 62, but continued working and paying every year. Yeah, everybody, whether you start collecting benefits at 62, 65, 70, whatever, you continue to work, and you're still going to pay. You always pay. My pay was much higher than his, but we did get refunds due to work expenses. Okay. I retired at 74. I only make $100 more a month than he did. It doesn't seem right that I worked 12 more years than he did, making more money, and the annual Social Security received showed a small difference. That I worked 12 more years. Yeah, it's calculated over the high 35 years of earnings. But you said you worked 12 more years. Did you make more money just those 12 years? Because it's calculated over the high 35 years. So some people think it's, your Social Security monthly benefit is calculated based on the last year or last 5 years or last 10 years. No, it's based on your high 35 years of earnings. And those are indexed as well for a wage index. So basically, back in 1980, you made $20,000. Today, if they do those calculations, they index it for today's money. So that $20,000 in 1980 probably worth $100,000 today. So that's how they calculate the benefit. But if someone responds in there, Elizabeth says, "Hey, I've been watching Dr. Ed for a while, and number one thing I would do to make sure you're getting the right benefit is check your earnings record." So thank you, Elizabeth Cole. You are too awesome. Exactly. Go into ssa.gov, set up a My Social Security account, and check your earnings record. Maybe they missed some years of your earnings, and those are not being calculated. That is the most important thing. The problem is, if the earnings are messed up from 10, 20, 30 years ago, it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to fix it. That's why it's extremely important to make sure you check that on a regular basis and tell all your friends and young people to check their earnings record. Like, they used to send out the statement every year in the old days, and the purpose was to check to make sure Social Security has the correct earnings. But they stopped doing that essentially. Someone asks, how do I ask a question, John? You just did. I think John has some other question that he asked previously. Let me go back. Okay, John, I'm getting questions from all kinds. I do TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, but the easiest way for me to actually see questions is on YouTube, is YouTube chat. So come on over to YouTube there. Just search Dr. Ed Weir and you'll see me and subscribe. And all right, John asked, my wife started collecting at 62 while continuing to work. She reached full retirement age February of 2025. It is now January 2026. When will she start getting the benefit increase for what was withheld because of the income limits? Okay. So she started, or anybody, if you start your benefits early, let's say 62 years old, and you work and you earn over the annual earnings limit, this year it's $24,480. So if they hold back checks because you worked, $10,000 over, and they hold back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 checks or whatever, what happens is, John, is they do the recalculation when she turns her full retirement age. It's called ARF, the adjusted reduction factor. So basically, your wife started benefits early, maxed 62, or let's make it easier. Use the example I always do. Let's say you start your benefits 30 months early. So your Social Security check is reduced by 30 months. Every month you take your benefits early, it's reduced by a little bit every month. So yours, hers, whoever's 30-month reduction. But then you work and your benefits are suspended. So let's say your benefits are suspended for 20 months. So you got your benefits 30 months early, but you only got 10 checks because of the suspensions, because you worked to make too much money. No such thing as making too much money. But anyway, I won't go on to that one. But once you hit your full retirement age, Social Security and your benefits are unsuspended now, and so they start sending your checks out normally. Social Security looks at it and says, okay, yeah, we're going to write you a check here. You're your full retirement age. And so here's your check, and it's reduced by 30 months. And they go, oh, no. So this is automatic. The computer system does this. The computer system says, oh, wait a second. This person didn't take all 30 checks, so they shouldn't be reduced by 30 months. They only took 10 checks. So effectively, they only took their benefits 10 months early. So from now on until forever, they're only going to be reduced by 10 months, not 30 months, but only 10 months. And that's 100% automatic. You don't have to do anything, but it happens at your full retirement age. So, all right, let's see what else we have here. Let's watch this. Someone sent in a video. It's a bit of a long one, about a minute and a half, but let's check it out.
I, a long time ago, got about a year and a half's worth of divorced ex-spouse benefits. and then Social Security sent me a letter, and so I switched to my own. And just to be nice, I emailed him recently because I've been pretty sick, and I told him that if I died first, he probably could get survivor benefits on me, even though he's been married since, but I think they were short marriages. Um, my question is, can I do that online? And will they still have a record that I drew off his, and will they still have the copies of the certified certificates? And also, is there a special place that I go to file for ex-spouse benefits? I just am so afraid of messing up my own what I get now. Um, okay, and fun fact, I read somewhere or heard, I must have watched it on a YouTube or something, that Trump is talking about changing the Social Security marriage ex-spouse limit to 10 years, to 20 years instead of 10. Okay, thanks. Bye. And thanks for all you do.
All right, thank you. Okay, yeah. So the last part, yeah, there's no official thing about changing it to 20 years. Again, more fake AI garbage out there. All right, so she was receiving divorce spouse benefits at one time for a year and a half, and then stopped receiving. Not sure what happened there. He got remarried, possibly, and now divorced. Yeah. Or you were receiving those as child and care benefits, and then the child became over, 16 and older, or no longer disabled, or whatever. So yeah, something happened there, but that's beside the point. That's interesting that you are nice enough. You got a nice relationship with your ex that you sent him an email, snail mail or whatever, and said, hey, by the way, if something happens to me, you might be able to get benefits on my record because your benefits are higher. So in order for that person to get surviving spouse benefits on yours, they had to be married 10 years and all that. But their benefit has to be less if they're past their full retirement age. That gets a little complicated, but wow, that's interesting that you're still in that good relationship. That's a beautiful thing. So in terms of, as for the marriage certificate and divorce decree, no, they don't. You really have, it's probably part of the old system, so they probably don't have easy access to your marriage certificate and divorce decree that you provided at that time. And maybe at that time, you just provided it, and people, the Social Security employee looked at it and put it in the system, and that's it. So if they did it correctly, on the remark screen, and I know exactly how to do it, then yeah, you won't need it again, but you might. So you might need that again, but probably not. If you're entitled to divorce spouse benefits, your benefit amount is less than half, but it doesn't sound like it is because you're saying that your benefit amount is higher than his, so you probably won't be eligible for benefits on his record because your benefit amount is less than half of his. However, on his side, if you're saying he might be able to get money on yours, that means yours is higher, and maybe yours is twice his full benefit amount. So he might be able to get benefit on your record. So let me see. We've got Stephanie donated $4.99 to the cause. Thank you very much. And let's see. So Stephanie, I'm trying to find your question there. I've got tons of questions that kind of fly by. And did my question become obsolete or irrelevant by now? I see that question, but I don't see. And Claudia, thank you. Gave $10. I appreciate it. You were too awesome. Gosh, where is? I can't find Stephanie's question there. I apologize, Stephanie. I'm looking through here, and do me a favor, type the question in one more time, and I will definitely get it. And team, if I miss it, please point it out to me. Let's see here. Really, they can make a claim that nobody checks that. I found out 9 months later. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people, I think probably if I had a dime every time someone came on here or someone emailed me or left comments that said, well, if I would have known that, last year or 3 years ago, I would have made so much more money. And yeah, yeah. Yes, Stephanie, type it in a few times and I'll be able to see it hopefully again. I made bigger income than my deceased ex and married over 10 years. Am I eligible for any of his Social Security? Yeah, just as the young lady that we just had there. Yours has to be less than half of his full benefit amount. Your full benefit amount, not your reduced amount, but your full benefit amount if you waited till your full retirement age compared to his full benefit amount if he had waited till his full retirement age. If yours is less than half, yes, you have to be receiving benefits on your record, and he has to be at least 62 years old. And obviously, there's limits in terms of earned income, working and all that stuff, and yeah, the marriage requirements and all that. Let's see here. I am living overseas and still have Medicare and Medicaid, but if I cancel Medicaid, what will have if you're living overseas, you're not supposed to have a Medicaid. Yeah. I mean, you're living overseas. Yeah. You're not supposed to have Medicaid. Yeah. Might have issues. Medicare, you can live overseas and have Medicare. Doesn't really help because, well, if you come back, Medicare doesn't cover you outside the United States. There are super, super small exceptions. If you have a Medigap plan, it covers overseas travel, but living type, yeah, it doesn't really. There's, an exception is if you're near the Canadian border, for instance, and there's a hospital like right there and you have an emergency, you can go to the Canadian hospital and so that's kind of an exception. So, but I guess that's not technically overseas, is it? Thank you for supporting this channel. You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, I would definitely, you're overseas, so you're not using Medicaid, so the state isn't technically out of money because you're technically you're not using Medicaid, hopefully you're not using Medicaid. You can't use it overseas, but maybe you come back or something. But yeah, this wherever you're getting Medicaid from, whatever state, is going to have issues. Yeah. If you voted for the current administration, don't complain. You can't get staff at Social Security. Now, yeah, even before the current administration, Social Security staffing was at a 50-year low. It's gotten, far, 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 far worse. And I'm going to be doing a video on there talking about closing offices. Well, there's one thing the current administration is doing. I think it's a really good thing. It's called workload mobility. I was talking about it for decades. We did it in our area when I worked at Social Security. I always said it should be done nationally, and they're actually kind of rolling that out. So that is a beautiful thing. But on the flip side of it, they're doing very, very bad things. Yeah, but I'll probably talk about that tomorrow because this is a new thing that's popping up. I retired from Social Security after 30 years of service, and I can't imagine how it's going now. It is not, So Yolanda, if you worked at Social Security, I don't know if you're on any retired Social Security Facebook groups or anything like that. But yeah, it's not going good. It is. The morale is terrible. My son been on SSI as a kid. And the reason the morale is so terrible is, there are people getting paid. No, the morale is terrible because, these people, 99% of them, there's idiots out there, just like every organization, but 99% of the people at Social Security want to do a good job. They don't want to make mistakes. Well, the number one reason people don't want to make mistakes, it's, self-preservation. If you make a mistake and do something wrong with a claimant at Social Security, give somebody the wrong benefit amount or do this or yada, 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 you have to fix it. And it usually takes 10 times longer to fix it than it does to do it right the first time. That's what, anytime I train people at Social Security, I said, do it right the first time. Because if you don't, we're going to make you fix it. And it's going to take up 10 times more time and effort to do it. And you've already got 400 cases to work on. So make your life easier. So yeah, and now, so the Social Security employees are like, I just don't have time, to do this right. I've got 800 other cases, and the people are pushing, and so yeah, that's why the morale is so low, because they're being highly pressured, and the guy that's in charge of the Office of Management Budget of the White House, he said, that's what he said before he came on. He said he wants to traumatize federal employees. And he literally said that. I want to traumatize federal employees, to make their life a nightmare. And he's succeeding. Yeah, very successful at that. My son has been on SSI as a kid, and now I have a hearing on the 13th this month for disability. If I can win, I get him on mine, and I'm 54. We'll be 55 in April. Yeah, awesome. Go into, I'm not sure if you have an attorney or something, you're doing it yourself. But yeah, be honest, tell them, don't be shy about, your limitations. A lot of people try to be tough and stuff, and no, just let it all hang out. So yeah, if you're approved for disability benefits and you have a child under the age of 18, or a child, sounds like in your case, that became disabled before the age of 22, then that child will receive an SSI. It's a welfare-based benefit. Max you can get is $994. He will get 50% of your full benefit amount, up to 50%, depends on if you've got any children or anything like that, but 50%, up to 50% of your full benefit amount. So what will happen is, if that 50% of your full benefit amount is over $994, then his SSI will stop. And he'll get the higher amount. So if he's getting Medicaid, anything like that from the state, make sure you contact the state and say, hey, he's no longer getting SSI. But in most states, they have a rule that if you're still disabled, but your benefit amount is just higher because you switched over to a different benefit amount, a benefit claim, then they'll continue his Medicaid. But kind of all bets are off, because they cut $1 trillion out of that. And so states are going to be scrambling to see who they can kick off. So I have the same question as Gerald. I want to cancel Medicare because I'm overseas. I just tuned in, so I apologize if you address this. Yeah, you can refuse it. You can cancel it if you want to. But the repercussions are, you just have to fully understand the repercussions. And when you cancel it, they actually have you fill out a form that you understand the repercussions. So if you never come back to the United States and you never need Medicare, then yeah, more power to you. But if something happens, the political situation in that particular country you're in, you get sick, you get homesick, and you want to come back to the United States, you can't sign up for Medicare Part B, which we're talking about because we're talking about money, right? You can't sign up for Part B until January, February, March, the general enrollment period. Right now we're in the general enrollment period, which you can sign up for Medicare Part B, but you'll be penalized for 10% for every 12 months. And we're also in the open enrollment period. It's all crazy confusing. So if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, you can actually change it if you forgot to check it, or if you found out you made the wrong decision, or whatever the case, or your doctor's left, or you've got some other issues. You can actually change your Medicare Advantage plan January, February, March. If you change it this month, your new one will take effect February 1st, and you can reach out to Chapter and see if there's a better one in your particular area. So yeah, you can cancel it, more power to you, but you just have to understand the repercussions if something, what do they say? Life is what happens while you're making other plans, right? Karen, I am 56 and just awarded my Social Security disability pay. Will I need to sign up for Medicaid? If Medicaid is a welfare-based program, if you need health insurance and you're low income, low resources, then yeah, Medicaid. But in terms of Medicare, the federal program, Medicare Part A, Part B, no, that will be automatic. Once you're on disability for 24 months, then your Medicare will start automatically. So don't, and remember, if you were just awarded. So if you were, your benefits started this month, and you got to wait 24 months for Medicare, which is stupid if you ask me. But anyway, that's the law. If they are giving you retroactive pay, or they decided, okay, we made a mistake the first time or whatever, we're going to give you 2 years of back pay. So technically your disability started 2 years ago. If that's the case, then congratulations, you start Medicare today. So, and then you need to find, something to cover all the gaps, a Medicare Advantage plan, Medicare Supplement plan. Most states, all you can get is a Medicare Advantage plan if you're under 65. So, and then, yeah, folks, if you need free medical assistance, call Chapter. The number is on the upper. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. They support our channel and everything. Yeah, so we appreciate that. Every person who is a citizen, benefits or not, from the politicians in office, they should be required to vote, in my opinion. Yeah, so. How do you get Social Security for a survivor's son, 11 years old? Dad deceased, dad not on birth certificate. He did receive a court-ordered inheritance as he was listed as a child. His half-brother gets Social Security. Yeah, you just file. I've had some crazy cases that we were able to prove paternity. So, yeah, if the child is the surviving son, then yes, have them apply for Social Security, and they'll get surviving spouse benefit or surviving child benefits up until they reach 18, graduate high school, 19 or 2 months, or if they're disabled for the rest of their lives. So yeah, not on the birth certificate, that's fine. Social Security will go through the whole rigmarole, and since the employees there, hopefully they do everything right, but if you have a DNA test proving inheritance thing, that the court order, if it says in there that we have determined that this child is the legal son, I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but the craziest case I ever had, I think I talked about this once in my 2000 videos. I had a case where boyfriend and girlfriend, and they had a child, and he passed away, and he wasn't on the birth certificate, couldn't get a DNA test or anything like that. But in the Social Security regulations, you might disagree with this or disagree with this, whatever, but hey, it's in the regulations. If they were cohabitating at that time, then Social Security assumes that that's the child. So she had to prove that they were living together, but she couldn't because he wasn't on the lease or anything like that. But okay, this is where it gets strange. He assaulted her. He beat her. He wasn't a great guy. So we didn't lose much when we lost. Anyway, I won't go there. But he beat her, and the police arrested him, and the police report showed that they were living together in the same kind of, one of those monthly type places, weekly, and so they were living together, and they had all the report. And that just so happens it was about 9 months. That happened about 9 months before the birth. So we use that as proof that they were cohabitating, living together at that time, and therefore the child was able to get benefits as a child, as surviving child benefits. So, so what do you all think about that? That's it. Yeah, I've only used that one time in hundreds of. Well, that's the only time that one was ever used in my office, and we had the third busiest office in the country, so it doesn't happen very often. But that's one of the regulations. 20,000 pages of regulations. So yeah. Social Security screwed up my deceased hubby's final check, so I think my widow's Social Security check may not be correct. How do I check it's right? Screwed up your final check, not sure. So the person has to be alive the entire month in order to get benefits. The Social Security always pays a month in arrears. So the person, like if the person just passed away in December, they don't get the January check. They have to be alive the entire month, every second of the month, in order to get the following check. So I'm not sure how they could, pay your hubby a benefit amount, and then all of a sudden the calculations are wrong. Not sure, but yeah, if they're wrong, then you request an appeal. It's an SSA 561, a request for reconsideration, and someone will look at it and just make your argument and say, well, I believe it was incorrect because of whatever, and they'll take a look at it. So I didn't hear anything about a bill law that allows to raise to the cap. How is this changed? Right? Yeah, it's through a bill. That is there's been who is it? Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, was it John Larson has also introduced a bill as well. But yeah, they have been introduced on a regular basis over a long period of time, these type of bills here. And I'm looking for my interesting graphic. All the people in the 70s will understand. Oh, okay, here we go. There it is. Yeah. So there's a bill in Congress right now that says we should raise the cap. The previous president, President Biden, had a plan to raise the cap. His was kind of a donut hole type thing. His was for people to pay Social Security tax, FICA tax, that you would pay the 6.2 up to 250,000, and then from 250,000 to 400,000 you wouldn't pay, and then from 400,000 over, then those people would pay FICA tax like the rest of us. But unfortunately, that didn't go anywhere. So there has been bills, but it doesn't get support because, yeah, it's just a bill. Anyway, always have a backup buddy with you. There's strength in numbers, no miss. Yes, always. Yeah, any place in life. I'm not sure what you're referencing there, but it's always good to have a backup buddy on anything in life, right? All right. I'm still trying to find Stephanie's question here. Got Claudia. Don't forget to smash the like button, folks. Yes, please, please, please. If you cancel Medicaid while living overseas, you won't face direct Medicaid penalties, but you'll lose your benefit. Okay, Medicaid, yeah, that's you're probably talking about Medicare. If you cancel Medicare, yeah, Medicare and Medicaid are different. You can have both. Millions of people have both. Unfortunately, there's hundreds of thousands of people that don't know that they can have both, and they're making their lives very, very difficult. So let's see. If you live in VA, if you live in Virginia, your senators are Mark Warner and Tim Kaine. Mark Warner actually serves on Social Security reform in the Senate and will respond personally to any and all Social Security matters. Okay, awesome, awesome. Let's see. In reference to pausing Social Security payments at full retirement age 67 to 70 at 8% per year or 24% 3 years, would COLA increases be added as well? I did take my Social Security early at 62. Thanks. Yes, absolutely. That's always a question I get this time of the year. Hey, when will COLA? And I didn't get my COLA. Yeah, everybody gets their COLA. It's baked into the Social Security computer system. Once COLA is determined, the computer engineers just say, okay, computer, multiply everything by 2.8% and add that on there. So yeah, it's added on there. So what this person is talking about is voluntary delayed retirement credits. Once you hit your full retirement age, you can actually suspend your benefits and wait. If you wait till 70, you're going to get 24% added onto your Social Security benefits. So it's called voluntary delayed retirement credits. So Jane, we'll give it another try. It would be helpful if I knew how it's computed. He didn't collect till after his FRA, and I waited till 70 to start mine. So we're talking about how his benefits, over its Social Security benefits are all calculated the same. Let me put it up here. They take your high 35 years of earnings. They adjust it for a wage growth index. And then they come up with your averaged indexed monthly earnings, your AMI. So the high 35 years, they divide. So they take, let's say the $1 billion you made over 35 years, and they divide it by 420, and that comes up with that amount. And then they take the step 3 formula. They take 90% of that first 1,286, 32% between these numbers, and the 15%. So it's a progressive calculation. So people, and that's how they come up with the PIA, the primary insurance amount. So that's why people that have low earnings throughout their life, if they only make $1,000 average throughout their life, they get a 90% return. They get $900. If your average earnings throughout your life are $10,000, then you're going to get about a 35% return. So, except if you're part of the Social Security Fairness Act that was passed by President Biden, which I think is completely unfair. And it's being paid and supported by the current president as well. And so about 3% of government employees, state employees, city, it's actually, they're celebrating their 1 year passing of getting more money than other people, a higher return, not more money, absolutely, but a higher percentage than other people. So it's completely unfair. We should get a higher percentage like them. But yeah, most people that said, Ed, you don't know what you're talking about. And I tell them about the Amy and the PIA and they disappear. So I have been on SSDI for 18 years, permanent disability. Can I take early retirement at 60? Will my benefits amounts change? Thank you. If you're on Social Security disability, yeah, you're just keep on going on. You can't, there is no early retirement at 60 unless you're collecting off a surviving spouse. If you collect at 62, if you want to stop disability at 62, withdraw, you'll lose your Medicare probably, and you'll get a 30% cut. But yeah, nobody really does that because they don't want to lose their Medicare and they don't want to get a 30% cut. So just stay where you're at. Once you hit your full retirement age, your benefits will switch to regular retirement benefits at that time. So. All right, let's see here. We got, still trying to find, you likely didn't hear about a new, Danny says you likely didn't hear about a new law raising the Social Security cap because it hasn't happened. Yes. Yeah, it hasn't happened. There's been a lot of talk about it, but yeah, it's just not there yet. It's time for old people to stop running for president. Mine, you, yeah, just say it. Yeah. But you know, Richard Pryor says, you don't get to be old by being no fool. Yeah. But anyway, but I don't know if I 100% believe that. I've seen, anyway, but I won't editorialize on that one. All right, let's see here. Missing a number of regulars lately. Where is everybody? Yeah, people have lives. Why we need people who care about the program working for Social Security. What do they expect the elderly people to do? Not everyone is rich like them. I have family, but I'm on my own with no, you need people at the Social Security Administration to help you navigate this. You know, it's to people say, well, I don't know what Ed's talking about. I filed online and I never talked to anybody and everything was done. Okay, was it done correctly? Did they check your gap years? Did they see if you're entitled to any other benefits? Maybe you should file for disability benefits or survivor benefits. Or what about the other people that you were married to at that time? Did they follow those leads to see if those people? Yeah, there is so many variations there that unfortunately people miss. Yeah. Conjunction junction. What's your malfunction? Yes, that is it. Yes. I was a teacher and that would be that we were talking about. Yes. Those teachers, firefighters, police officers that worked in particular states or municipalities that did not pay into Social Security when they were working there. They paid into Social Security at other places. But now they're going to be receiving a higher percent than the rest of us. Yeah. It's, not great if you ask me. So, all right, let's see. Robin used to be able to make $48,000 a year while collecting Social Security retirement. Now it is less than 25. Yeah, it was never 48. Yeah. Now it is less than 25 a year before disruption in checks. Is this what you said? No. Yeah, it was never 48,000. I think, yeah, 20 years ago, it was like $12,000. Probably what you're talking about is the year you turn your full retirement age. So this year, let's say 2026, you're allowed to make $24,480 if you're under your full retirement age. Anything over that, Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over. You're probably thinking of the year you turn your full retirement age. If you turn your full retirement age this year in 2026, you can make $65,160 for the months before your full retirement age. So if your full retirement age is July of 2026, you can make $65,160 from January until June. And then starting July, you can make $1 billion a month. It doesn't affect your benefits negatively at all. So that's probably what you're talking about. In the old days, it was 48,000. Yeah, for the year you turn your full retirement age. So the 48,000 year was probably, before that was probably, $13,000 or $14,000. So yeah, it's a lot of people miss that. A lot of people miss that. So you're a godsend to people who need answers regarding Social Security. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thought my widow's benefits are based on mine. No, and part of his. So total of my benefit is mine plus part of his, with my max being at not exceeding his total. So how it works is with spouse benefits or surviving spouse benefits, you essentially get kind of two checks, but one offsets the other. So for widow's benefits, let's say you're entitled to $1,500 from his record, but you're already getting $1,000. So you will continue to get your $1,000 plus the difference. Again, this is if you waited till your full retirement age. So you'll get your $1,000, and the difference between 1,000 and 1,500 is 500. So you get 1,000 from yours and a 500 from him, and that's where that comes from. So I just received a letter in my Social Security account, and it says I need to fill out a form because I may need to pay taxes on 11,000. My only income. Is this true? Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, the Social Security doesn't deal with paying taxes. That's the IRS. Not sure. Maybe that seems like it's a little bit early. Did you make $11,079 over, or $22,000 and some change over the annual earnings limit for last year? Seems kind of early for them to start sending those forms out, but maybe you were collecting Social Security benefits last year and you're under your full retirement age and you worked over $11,000 or $22,000 over. And so they're saying, yeah, because you made $22,000 too much, you owe us $11,079. Maybe that's it. And remember, a lot of people are going to get those overpayments for last year. Maybe I should do a separate video on that. Did you get overpaid? Overpaid? Are you aware of this? Because the letter says, here, pay us. Here's the envelope. Write a check, because everybody has that much money sitting around, right? Yeah, almost nobody pays, full like that. You can set up a payment plan, and it's up to 60 months, 0 interest. So, and you just call them up and say, okay, I earned too much last year. I owe you 11,000. Just go ahead and take X amount out of my Social Security checks from here on in. But remember, if this was an overpayment for last year, your benefits might be stopped this year. If you're still under your full retirement age, they will look at what you made last year and they will assume that you're going to make the same this year. And in order to prevent you from being overpaid, they might withhold January, February, March, February check. So yeah, so next month's check might be withheld if what I think happened. So I would reach out, and number one is set up set a payment plan on that one and tell them, oh no, I'm not making the same amount last year. I'm making this much this year, and they'll put it in there. So if you're making less, then they'll release a check. If not, then they'll, rather than having an overpayment, they will just suspend your benefits. So Claudia, funny, but I wouldn't want to piss off Dr. Ed. You see the Marines come out like, oh, the Hulk. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not the Hulk type. Yeah. I used to carry stuff for big Hulk guys when we used to go on forced marches and runs and stuff like that, because they had all that muscle that was just so hard to carry up the mountains and stuff. So there's that. Terry, my ex-husband retired 5+ years ago. I'm still working as I'm 62, married 29 years, divorced 6 months. Can I get a portion of his SSI benefits? No, not SSI, because that's welfare. But you mean Social Security. So I'm still working at 62. You have to file for benefits on your own record. And if you're still working, then you're limited, $24,480. But if you're working and earning under that, then you file for benefits on his record. And then if he is currently receiving benefits, then you can file for benefits on his record. If he is not collecting benefits, but he's at least 62 years old, you have to wait 1.5 years, because that's what's called independently entitled divorced spouse benefits. That even if he's 62 and he hasn't started collecting Social Security benefits, no problem. But you have to be divorced for 2 years for that particular one, only that one right there. So don't confuse that with anything else. That's only if your ex hasn't started receiving benefits yet, that you have to have the 2-year divorce, the final divorce, 2 years. Let's see what we got here. Someone do me a favor, if they can find, was it Jennifer's questions, and they cut and paste it like 10 times up there so I can see it. I hate to leave. She, donated money and I appreciate it. So I'd hate to, have her leave without answering her question. Bella, thank you. Now I just need to find out what number Social Security is using for computation, his benefits at his FRA or 65 or later when he actually retired. Yeah, they recalculate every single year. So they recalculate every single year. So if you're 65, 75, 85, they recalculate your benefits every year based on work. So I'm trying to get on SSDI. Is it better with or without a lawyer? You can use a lawyer if you want. More power to you. You don't pay them unless they win. The first couple of stages, they're just going to ask you basically the same questions you did. You can go online and file online, schedule an appointment or whatever. And with disability, I usually, recommend, talking to someone for retirement. For disability, I usually recommend filing online because I know how the sausage is made at Social Security, and they're not giving people enough time to take the disability application. So you're going to be rushed. And with disability, you got to list your, what you can do and your prescriptions and your daily activities and all that stuff. And, Social Security employee, because they don't have any staff, they're really forcing them to, hey, you got to do this in 45 minutes or an hour or so. And sometimes it takes longer than that. So you can file online, take your time, get all your prescriptions, your doctor's names and addresses and stuff, and just, go through it. But get it started. Get it started as soon as possible. So the first stage, you can do it pretty much yourself. We've got experts that can help you. It looks like our 24help.org page is down today. We might have been attacked. I think I don't want to get conspiratorial, but I got my computer guy. He'll get it fixed here in a bit. And then the second stage, if you're denied the first stage, the second stage is easy. Super, super easy. The third stage is where you go see a judge, and that one I highly recommend a lawyer. So, all right, let's see. What is in-kind? Hello, what is in-kind support? Okay, yeah, that's for SSI, for Social Security, that's SSI, Supplemental Security Income. So they changed that law about 18 months ago. So it's in-kind support for housing and in-kind support for food. So if you're receiving SSI, welfare-based benefits, and you get money from other places, they used to count that differently than they do nowadays. So it's basically that you're getting food from a food shelter or a friend or a church or a mosque or whatever, and they would count that as kind of income. Now they're not necessarily doing that. So if you're renting a room and from a family member and they're charging you under market rates, $200 cheaper than what the market is, that's a $200 donation kind of to you, income to you. But they kind of change it. But the current administration is trying to change that back to make it even more difficult. And we're keeping an eye on that. So let's see. Get some other. Jane Ford was born in 55 and mine was 66 and 2 months. Yeah, so the full retirement, if you were born in 1960 and after, it's super easy now. Everybody's full retirement age is 67 years old. So, all right, let's see if we got any final questions here. Still can't see. Do me a favor. Okay, we got Robin. If I start collecting Social Security retirement August, my birthday month at age 65 and continue to work by age 67, will there be adjustments made to collect the full amount at 67? No. Once you're reduced and you continue to receive those reduced benefits, it's always going to be reduced. So, could you imagine? You get your reduced benefits at 62, and then once you hit your full retirement age, everybody would get their benefits at 62. I wonder how much Social Security retired Congress people get. Yeah, they get like everybody else. Yep, no change, no difference, same as anybody else. How much they paid, their high 35 years and all that, they pay into Social Security. So if I claim Social Security this year at 64, is the $24,480 earning cap based on me as an individual or total household income? Okay, good question, Tone Shop. It's based on you as an individual. So completely you as an individual. And it's based on wages or net income from business. So it doesn't include your Social Security check, doesn't include other pensions coming in, any of that. Let's see here. I'm still looking for her question and I'm just not seeing it. So unfortunately, so if you can go onto my website, mygovexpert.com, and record a video there. If I missed your question today, you just go onto mygovexpert.com, and on the bottom left, there's a little camera icon, and you can record a 2-minute video. As you saw that one person that recorded a video today, you don't necessarily have to show your face. I prefer you show your beautiful face, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And then record a video, and I will answer it tomorrow. I love video questions. So, all right, that'll be it for today. Y'all take care. Oh, let me get this last question in here. I will be inheriting around $10,000. I'm on SSI retirement, though I was 44 when I disabled. Should I open an ABLE account to buy a vehicle reason for cars, medical reasons for me and my adult son? No, if you're on SSAR, so I think that's Social Security retirement, then yeah, no relevance. If you're on SSI, Supplemental Security Income, the welfare-based program, then that, ABLE account might be a good thing. If you're on just regular Social Security retirement, you could have been $1 billion. Doesn't matter. We've got some, let's see if we got any, some members. So let's answer some member questions to end up here. The problem with working for a private corporation is that they did away with their retirement plans and paid pittance for years worked on those. Yeah, they privatized those. Yeah, remember in the old days, you got a pension for the rest of your life and you got a gold watch when you're retired and stuff like that. Yeah, these companies say, well, you just personal responsibility, you just save on yourself. We're not going to give you pensions anymore. Needless to say, the CEOs and the board of directors, they all get pensions and golden parachutes and stuff, but it's. For you, not so much. So, all right, y'all take care. I'll be back again tomorrow. If I missed your question today, make sure you join me tomorrow. Best place, as always, as I say, is come on over to YouTube. That's the easiest place for me to see questions. All right, y'all take care. Have a beautiful